I am really excited to share today's download with you all. Today, I want to talk about your greatest asset, and I'm not talking about money, I'm not talking about properties or cars or whatever you own. I'm talking about your ability to focus. And today, I want to break down the background as to why your focus has been taken away from you from, before you were even born up until this very day, and how you can begin to shift back into a space where you can reclaim your focus and watch as you begin to change your reality and change your life. Focus is something that a lot of people aren't aware is what's keeping them stuck in their current reality, because your focus is spread across so many ideas and so many topics and other people's beliefs and habits that aren't conducive to your highest timeline. Reclaiming it is going to single-handedly shift your reality. And so I want to get into some notes as to why that is. But the first thing is I want to talk about the background of when did we start losing our focus. So this happens before you are even thought of, before you are even conceived. We have to go back in generations and look at 4 to 5, sometimes even up to 20 generations back. What were our ancestors doing at this time? And if you really understand that we are a culmination of not only the present lifetime, past lifetime, but also our generations and our ancestors, you start to see how these have a major influence on your day-to-day life as it is today. And so during generational traumas and lineage, we have to understand that our ancestors also did not have the ability to focus on what it is that they wanted to focus on, because they were truly, for the most part, in survival. And this creates a lineage of trauma, a lineage of limiting beliefs that are passed down onto us. And even if we came into this realm with abundance around us, or the illusion of what seems to be abundant, you can still hold on to these traumas that are passed down generationally. And so this develops a program that we begin to play out in our reality, a program of falling back to the default of what is going to keep us alive, what is going to keep us in survival, right? So this creates very little space for you to focus on what truly brings joy, what truly brings out your passions. And so we have to understand that this is beyond this current lifetime. And then we also want to understand, okay, now that we know that, what are some additional things that happen when we are finally brought into this realm? And, immediately you are bombarded with so many things that are distracting you and taking your focus away from you and causing you to essentially become a product of someone else's idea, right? And so this can be done through chemicals, through the toxins, through radiation, through limiting beliefs and programming. Programming is one of the biggest things that take place, especially now more than ever. And fast forward to now, where we have the age of social media, we are in the information age. And so there's information coming from all different directions. And as we get deeper into the age of Aquarius, information is going to be key. But your ability to focus on the right information is what's going to shift your reality into what it is that you desire to bring about. When you have the ability to focus, you can quite literally learn anything. And imagine someone who can sit with a concept, sit with an idea, and teach themselves anything through the power of focus. Now you've developed new skills to go and then apply them into your life and change your reality. So they're aware of this, and what they do is they have you learn very little pieces of information. If you're learning at all, it's little pieces of information here and there. But when you take control of your focus, you're able to really sit with a concept and learn all there is about that concept and then apply it in your day-to-day life. I've done this many times before where I knew I wanted to make a change in my life. And so I spent a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, however long it took to really sit and teach myself certain concepts and ideas so that I can begin to make changes in my reality. And with the amount of information that's out there today, you can do this with anything. If you want to learn how to trade stocks, if you want to start posting content about a specific topic, the tools that are available to us today are exponential compared to what they were before, especially with the age of the internet and the ability to connect to so many people. You can learn a skill and then not only share it with others, but teach others how to obtain that skill as well. So when you have the ability to focus, not only do you have the keys to learning anything that you desire, you also have the keys to creating your reality. Because when you focus on something, a goal, for example, and you take the necessary action steps towards that, eventually you have achieved that goal, right? And what is the achievement of goals, if anything, but creating your reality? And so if you set a goal and you're able to focus on that, then all of a sudden you start to live in the achievement of that goal. And the only way that we're able to do that is when we really truly focus in on what it is that we're trying to bring about. And this is essentially what true manifestation is. True manifestation is being able to write down what it is you want to bring into your reality, write down the steps that it's going to require you to take action on, taking those actions, and then watching as those goals begin to come into your physical experience. This is true manifestation. And in order to truly bring that in, again, your focus is a key element here, and being able to understand and have the persistence and the consistency to continue to show up requires focus. Because think about how many times people go out to achieve something, but then they get easily sidetracked or distracted or discouraged. And that's because they weren't truly focused on the goal. So in addition to all that happens when you begin to focus, there are some other benefits that come into this. There is the benefit of enhancing your creativity. I find that when I set time aside to truly focus on the goals or whatever my desires are, it helps me generate creative ideas on how I plan to get there. And so this is a great practice to start cultivating your own creativity, and that's through focus. Think about artists who enter the state of flow and they are so focused on creating. And there's this beautiful relationship that happens when you focus. It enhances creativity, and your creativity enhances your focus. And now you're in a state of flow. And the more you enter that state of flow, the more you can begin to see how tapped in you truly are to everything around you. Being focused gives you the ability to be present and aware of your emotions. And being aware of your emotions is extremely important because it reduces reactivity, creating scenarios and situations that you may now have wanted to bring about. When you're present and aware of your emotions, you can choose what steps and what actions to take based on that. Also, focusing allows you to quiet the mind. This is very similar to meditation, which is one of the best practices to facilitate focus. One of the first things that I would share with you in order to begin tapping into your ability to focus is start meditating. Because once you do so, any problem, any situation that arises, if you go into the state of meditation, if you go into the state of focus and quieting the mind, the answer will come to you. It always does. And so that's one of the ways that you can begin to facilitate focus and bring it about naturally. Another thing that I've done in the past is use tried and true techniques from rocket scientists, such as the Pomodoro effect or time blocking. This essentially allows me to clear everything out and only focus on one thing. I can set a timer. I can also make sure that I'm removing distractions in order for me to really make sure that I'm getting the task done. So once you begin writing your goals and taking the necessary steps, you'll start to realize that some items take priority over others. This is really important because a lot of people go throughout their day not knowing what is of importance. They just kind of roll out of bed and then they go into work and they do what they're told, come home and follow into their habits. And all of a sudden a whole day has gone by and they haven't achieved anything of importance or anything of priority to help move them towards their goals. Going a little bit deeper into this notion of how can I begin to create time to even focus? Some of us have very busy lives. Some people have children. Some people have jobs that, take up a lot of time. during their day, one of the ways that you can do this is prioritizing your free time. So when you do have moments to self, making sure that you're removing distractions, making sure that you're turning off your TV, potentially turning off your phone if you can do that, and setting a timer for a couple of minutes to an hour just of silence, just so that you can meditate, just so that you can realign and really focus on what truly matters. 1 hour a day of focused attention will begin to change your life in ways that you would never even imagine. I encourage you to start small. Start with maybe 1 hour a day if you can, and really just focus on reclaiming your time and your energy. And as a result, it will help you focus throughout the rest of your day. And you'll begin to see, like I said, you'll begin to see clarity for solutions that may have been lingering for some time. Some additional and bonus tips on how to begin facilitating more focus, more aligned focus, is to start feeding your mind and your body with nourishing foods that enhance your focus and concentration. So one of my favorites, or some of my favorites, are blueberries, walnuts, rosemary tea. I like to get a clip of fresh rosemary, boil it, and make a tea out of it. One of my favorite daily rituals is making my matcha, which, as you know, is a form of green tea. And green tea is amazing because it has so many antioxidants, but also mimics that of coffee without the jitteriness or the side effects that comes with drinking a cup of coffee. And so I have added all of these things into my daily routine, so it helps provide a resource and a tool to help enhance the functionality of my mind. And I think a lot of people underestimate how important our nutrition is in facilitating our focus. This is how, going back to the beginning of the video, they were able to capture so many young children and capture their focus through the food that they're eating, through the snacks that they're consuming, through the media, etc. And so really being able to control what you consume and nourishing the mind is going to be so important. Next, I have binaural beats. And as you know, everything is sound and frequency. Everything comes back to these vibrations. So if you are able to listen to some binaural beats, you will be able to quite literally change the way that your mind operates. It'll set you into a frequency and a vibration that is aligned with that of focus. I recommend going on Spotify, going on YouTube, and searching in binaural beats for focus. Try incorporating that into your daily routines and watch as you become more in tune and aligned with what it is that you're doing. Watch that even without the frequencies and the binaural beats, over time, you'll be able to tap into that frequency because you've trained your mind to do so. Lastly, the last tip that I will leave with you today on how to facilitate more focus in your life and reclaim your greatest asset is do not check your phone in the morning. When you rise, make sure that you give yourself some time to check in with yourself, to understand what subconscious programmings that have come up between you falling asleep and you waking up. You want to be able to meditate and you want to be able to journal if possible before checking your phone. The moment that you check your phone in the rising is the moment that your attention is now being outsourced. Your focus is now in the hands of someone else. And so you want to be able to reclaim that by setting yourself up first thing in the morning. Even if it's just 30 minutes after you rise, do not check your phone. Allow all of the downloads to be received. Allow yourself to really ground in the day and decide what kind of day you want to have, because this will carry the tone throughout the rest of your day, throughout the rest of your week. And so just understand that there are so many things that are taking place when you check your phone first thing in the morning. There are some brain waves that are being activated. So I'll be sharing a lecture specifically on brainwaves because of how important they are in this matter. So that's the last tip that I'll leave with you all. If you want to know more information, if you want to get deeper into the science of all of this, I'll be sharing some courses within my community. And like I mentioned, we'll go into brainwaves, we'll go into mind-body-spirit connection, and we'll talk about the actual science behind all of this and why, your focus is going to be something that is going to essentially revolutionize this next phase in life for all of us. So I want you guys to understand reclaiming your focus is going to be the greatest thing that you can do for yourself at this time. And if you have any questions or any additional insights on how someone can begin to do this, feel free to comment those down below. And as always, I will see you guys next time.